everyone, it's Friday and you're watching Within the Frame. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. The number of foreign tourists to South Korea is picking up. A total of 1.23 million people visited the country in October, the figure going over the 1 million mark for the fourth consecutive month. The country is expected to have had about 10 million visitors by the end of December. It appears as though most are particularly interested in wearing Hanbok, Korea's traditional clothing, eating Korean food, and getting beauty-related services such as nail and eyelash treatments. What do foreign tourists like about South Korea, and what should be done to attract more foreign visitors to the country? For this, we invite Professor Chai Sangmi from Ewha Womans University. Professor Chai, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. And we also have Chris Tharp, contributing writer for National Geographic Traveller magazine. Good to see you, Chris.
Great to be here.
All right, first question to our Professor Chai. So the number of foreign visitors to South Korea remained above 1 million for the fourth consecutive month in October. Could you tell us more about the actual figure and which countries were most of the visitors from?
If you look at that current statistics announced by Korean Tourism Organization the last month, it says, more than 200%, the number of visitors increased compared with last year. And if you look at that country, as you asked me, as you can guess, usually China recorded the most tourists as a number compared with other country. And the second is United States, and third is Taiwan. So compared to COVID-19 period, we look at, definite recovery of number of tourists visiting Korea this, the period.
Right, I see. So many tourists are coming from China, the U.S., and Taiwan. I see. Now, Professor Chai, one more question. We are expecting to see the number of foreign visitors to go over 10 million this year. What kind of economic effect can a country enjoy from a thriving tourism industry?
If you look at that, the effect, we can look at the perspective. One is direct economic benefit, the other is indirect economic benefits. The first direct economic benefit, we can guess the number of international tourists expends, resources on accommodation, meal, transportation, and entrance fees for tourist attraction. It is, contribute a lot to increase our GDP for the country level. And if you look at that indirect economic benefit perspective, the tourism sector is actually linked with other sectors such as, hospitality, food and beverage, transportation, and retail sector. So we can, expect more sales and, creation of jobs and number of employment generation. Also, we can look for the inflow of foreign currency to our country.
All right, so thriving tourism industry can bring both direct and indirect benefits to the country. Now, Chris, there could be many reasons why foreigners come to South Korea, but one major reason is reportedly the popularity of Korean content. How much of an impact does K-content have on tourists' reasons for coming?
Well, I don't think it can really be overstated, the impact of South Korea's cultural output and how that has attracted visitors. I've seen it really firsthand. I think maybe 10 years ago, primarily you'd have Hallyu mainly impacted countries like the Philippines and Malaysia and Indonesia, Southeast Asian sort of countries. But now Korean content, especially K-pop and dramas and film, has really found its way into Western countries. And this has attracted a lot of visitors. I know personally, I've met people on the streets. I've talked to especially young people who come to South Korea that are really attracted from the shows they've watched or the music that they're really into. And this is natural. I mean, when you listen to music or you see a show that, that really hits you somewhere personally, that draws you to want to visit the place where it was created and experience the world that sort of gave birth to that. I know, years ago, I started listening to Ethiopian music, and I suddenly became drawn to visit Ethiopia. I made plans to go there and research the country, and I still never visited Ethiopia, but every time I hear that music, I want to go there. And it's the same with other, Mexican music and some other places that I have visited that I feel really connected to. So I think it's no wonder that Korea's cultural output has kind of become a magnet for visitors here, and it will probably just continue to do so.
Right. Cultural power is definitely having a positive impact over attracting more foreign visitors. Now, Professor Chai, that being said, in what ways could K content be utilized to boost growth in the tourism industry even more?
We can think about various kind of ways Korea's tourism industry related with the K content, such as K-pop, K-drama, K-beauty, K-fashion, and K-food. If you look at the K-pop and K-drama perspective, you can think about, organized tours of filming location of popular K-drama or places mentioned in the K-pop songs. Also, I can think of a K-beauty and K-fashion experience provided like a, K-beauty and fashion makeup and styling classes. And also, recently, the foreigners interest a lot about the K-food. So if you think about the tourism related to K-food, organized food tours focuses on, Korean cuisine, maybe think about the classes or tasting events, traditional market tour. So we can think about various kind of way to, improve, increase number of tourists in Korea related with this kind of K contents, I think.
I see your point. Thank you for your suggestions, Professor Chai. Now, Chris, let's now take a look at how foreign tourists usually enjoy their trip in South Korea. First, about the region they visit. According to the Culture Ministry, Seoul accounted for more than 80% of visits by foreign tourists, which is more than 4 times compared to other regions. Is this because other regions are not well promoted?
Well, that's part of it, but I mean, Seoul is the financial, commercial, artistic, cultural, and political capital of the country. About half the population lives in Seoul. So it should make sense that that's where people are going to at least begin their journey into South Korea. It's just that big. It's kind of like going to England and not visiting London. But a lot of people just exclusively go to Seoul. That's the only place they see, because really, if you ask a lot of foreigners about South Korea, a lot of people would have a hard time naming any other city except for Seoul. It's just the only place they know. So yeah, I think the regions outside of the capital really need to be promoted. And especially, like, I live in Busan. I've lived in Busan for almost 20 years. And so I know what it feels like to kind of be in Seoul's shadow. And especially, I've had a lot of people come to Busan, and they're awed at what they see. And they're like, how did I not hear about this? Why did no one tell me how nice this city was? They had to see it themselves to believe it. And there's all sorts of other regions, like, Jeju Island. I was there last winter walking the Jeju Ole-gil, which is the circuit path around Jeju Island. And that's just a great way to experience Jeju. And of course, places like Gangwon-do, Sokcho is a great town with Soraksan National Park right there with Ulsanbawi rock staring you down. There's this wonderful mystical rock formation. And places like Gyeongju with the history, and Jeonju with the Hanbok Mall and the kind of cultural experience you can have there. So yeah, I think Korea could do a better job of promoting not Seoul, and I'm really for that, because Seoul's great, obviously. I love going up there, but there's so much more to see in this country than just the capital.
Right. That being said, Chris, could you give us any suggestions to promote other regional areas other than Seoul, or do you have any recommendation for foreign tourists to visit?
Well, I did mention a few places like, Jeju-do, I think is a must, because you get everything in Jeju-do. There's history, great food, but also nature. Also Jeollanam-do, places like Gwangju and around there. Jeollanam-do has some of which South Jeolla province in English, has some of the best food in South Korea. It's known as kind of like where Korean cuisine really takes off. Also, if anyone ever gets a chance to go to Ulleung-do, which is the island in the East Sea, which is a really, really cool piece of real estate. It's visually stunning. The waters around there are pristine. Again, there's fresh seafood. It's a really special place to visit. So I think each region, through campaigns to the tourist boards and, any sort of way to promote what they have to the world, and not just Korea. And again, maybe more films and dramas to take place outside of Seoul. so people can see Korea. Because I think that nothing beats that, really. I think these movies and TV shows are the best ad. They're better than any ad money you could possibly spend otherwise.
Right, I cannot agree more. You do know a lot of places. Well, thank you, Chris, for your recommendations. Chris, now to what they usually do in the country. Seoul-based travel information platform KoreaTrip unveiled data on foreign tourists' consumption trends. And it said many use rental services for Hanbok, traditional Korean clothes. What makes Hanbok wearing attractive to foreigners?
Well, I mean, they're just really colorful and fun. I mean, they look really cool. They're so vivid and kind of exciting. And when you visit Korea, Korean people really encourage you to try on a hanbok, to experience their culture through their, traditional dress. So it's a fun way to kind of get a deeper connection to the place that you're visiting. You can kind of feel the history as you stroll around in these, in these garments that go back thousands of years as a kind of cultural signifier of South Korea. So I think it's just a lot of fun, and they look pretty cool.
All right, I cannot agree more that they're cool. Now, Professor Chai, they also show interest in getting beauty-related services, including nail and eyelash treatments, and medical tourism to Korea for plastic surgery and dermatology is also popular. Could you tell us more about how such K-beauty-related businesses are enjoying popularity in the inbound tourism industry, and how does it affect the industry?
K-beauty, the people says with it has very emphasis on holistic and personalized care. That's why it gained a lot of attention these days in global perspective. So we can extend that K-beauty not just in a product to beauty and medical service to the beauty, but we can extend it to medical services as well. So if you look at the beauty services, the people says that all kind of skincare treatment, nail art, and eyelash extensions. These are very, very high quality services and very personalized care, provided to the tourists. And also if you look at the medical tourism, our medical services has very high standard and quality, and also we provide a state-of-the-art technology and very skilled physicians as well. So that's why we attract more attention from the global tourists to the Korea. So if you look at how these, medical services and beauty services, affect our tourism industry, of course, it can increase the tourist number, and also it can contribute to boost to the related industries such as, hospitality, retail, and transportation as well. And also it can enhance national image as well. And then a lot of jobs can be created related with that, K-beauty industry.
Right, much benefit we can enjoy. Now, Chris, another major thing foreigners enjoy in the country is food. In fact, a survey conducted by the Seoul Tourism Organization says that most foreigners revisit the capital city to taste Korean food again. What makes Korean food so unique?
Well, it's just really diverse and delicious. I really think Korean cuisine is probably the most attractive thing for a lot of people. I think that's like, if you really want to get visitors to Korea, emphasize the food here because it is that good. I mean, it was the key for me into this culture. When I arrived in Korea in 2004, I really didn't know anything about Korean food except for a little bit of barbecue and kimchi. Like back in the States where I'm from, the Seattle area, there were a lot of Korean immigrants, but most of them ran Asian restaurants that served Japanese food and Chinese food. They thought the Korean food might be a little too robust and flavorful for the foreign palate. But all this has changed, of course, with people like the late great Anthony Bourdain, who kind of served as an ambassador to open up the mystery of international cuisine. And now a lot of people travel specifically with eating in mind. I do when I'm traveling internationally, the first thing I try to do is find a really good local restaurant. And so Korea has so much of that, from the traditional markets to these little machibs everywhere. the food, also it's very colorful with all the banchans, the side dishes. It's kind of this really big experience. I remember the first time I sat down for a 한정식 meal in Gyeongju, you know, there were 35 side dishes.
35.
I counted. There was 35 side dishes, and I was absolutely gobsmacked by it. I had no, you know, I felt sorry for the dishwasher. There were so many things to sample, and it was such a revelation for me. So whenever I talk about Korean people, I really emphasize the food because I think it's really unique. And, you know, and it's pungent, spicy, tentacled sort of glory. You get everything, seafood and meat and vegetables. And also the atmosphere. I want to say, you know, is there anything better than sitting down for, you know, samgyeopsal or, you know, or some galbi at a meat restaurant and it's smoky and everyone's talking and drinking and laughing. And it's just like, it's a party. It's an experience in itself where the food is almost secondary. So I think it's Korea's greatest asset. So I think it should be more emphasized.
Right, we have best side dishes indeed, and it's really good to hear a lot are now enjoying Korean food and cuisine. Now, Chris, shifting gears a little bit here, when discussing foreign tourists in South Korea, we cannot leave out Chinese visitors. Around 4 months have already passed since China lifted its ban on group tours to South Korea. But the economic effect is failing to meet the industry's hope for market revitalization. And this is reportedly due to a change in Chinese tourist trends. How did it change?
Well, I think, first of all, you know, COVID-19 hit China very hard, and the economy hasn't really rebounded robustly. So I think people just have less disposable income, so they're going to be pickier about how they spend it in their international travel habits, especially. But more importantly, unfortunately, South Korea and China have witnessed a deterioration of relations over the last few years. Things have gone from sort of cold to colder. A lot of this has to do with President Yoon Suk-yeol kind of moving closer to the United States with the alliance with America, which has, of course, rubbed China the wrong way. The administration made some statements about Taiwan that rankled China last year. So I think through probably what is presented in the Chinese media, this rubs off on the taste of the people. And so people are less likely to visit South Korea because they see South Korea antagonistic towards China, which is unfortunate, but just relations aren't really good right now. And that tends to trickle down to where people choose to travel, because we really tend not to travel to places that we think might not welcome us or that we have bad feelings for. So hopefully China and South Korea can breach this sort of gulf and get back to close relations, because they are neighbors, and you know, both countries have a lot at stake and a lot of interest to keep engaged with each other. So hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah. And so, Professor Chai, industries, especially the duty-free market, are trying their best to see a boost in their profits. And car companies, too, are not seeing any increase in profits as Chinese travelers, they're using more mobile payment applications such as Alipay and WeChat Pay and so on. In what ways should industries adapt to such changing trend?
The changing trend you mentioned, necessitated a type of strategy from industry, I think. First of all, most important thing is we need to embrace, mobile payments such as, Alipay, WeChat Pay, and also we need to, collaborate with a mobile payments platform. Not only, that Chinese mobile payments platform, but also there are a lot of, the mobile platform provide a payment service. So industry could work together with the mobile payments platform to offer such as, special promotion or discount. Also, we can think about very innovative duty-free shopping. Not only, solely on airport duty-free shop, we can think about, setting up a downtown duty-free store, also duty-free online store, online shopping. Also, we can improve, digital presence of our, product online, because many consumers research a product online before they purchasing. So therefore, a strong online presence is very important. And, lastly, we can think about, personalization strategies. So by leveraging data from mobile payments platform, business can better understand the consumer behavior and preference. So we can, provide and suggest, more personalized product and service based on this information.
All right, a lot to try out. Now, we are running out of time, but I'd like to ask this last question to our Professor Chai. Now, today, Korean Prime Minister said South Korea would aim to attract 20 million foreign tourists next year. To make that possible, what additional measures should be in place?
Actually, we need to enhance tourism infrastructure, not only, the accommodation. So we need to expand the tourism facility and infrastructure, such as, transportation, tourist attraction. Also, we need to provide very diverse tourism offerings, such as, promoting diverse tourism products that appeals to different types of tourists, from cultural and historical tours, and K-beauty and fashion, also wellness tourism. And also we can think about promote sustainable tourism. Not only think about one-time tour, we can think about implement measure to protect and preserve natural and cultural heritage sites. And also we can promote that sustainable tourism can attract environmentally conscious travelers and ensure the long-term feasibility of the tourism industry. And then why don't you think about digital marketing? So we can leverage digital marketing to by utilizing social media influence and digital platform to promote tourism and reach a global audience.
All right, Professor Chai, thank you for your advice. Now, unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's edition. Thank you, Professor Chai and Chris, for your time and insights. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
All right, that's all for Within the Frame tonight. We'll be next Monday with more in-depth stories. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weekend, and goodbye.